Hey, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be narrating the real story of Annabelle the doll while I beat my face with a sponge, and I'm going to have to edit out a lot of parts of me applying makeup because otherwise the video will be too long. I was inspired to do this video by another YouTuber named Sydney Black. She has a segment on her channel called Makeup and History, which I think you guys should really check out. It's really interesting, and I might even do history themed content on my channel, so let me know by leaving a like. And yeah, so let's get on with the video. So whether you're a horror movie fanatic or not, you've probably heard about Annabelle and you're probably used to her looking like this. But the real Annabelle looks like this. Very similar, I know. So the story of Annabelle begins with a mother who goes to an antique shop to buy a Raggedy Ann doll for her daughter Donna. She wanted to get a doll to gift her because she just graduates from nursing school. Donna was thrilled to get the new Raggedy Ann doll that her mom got her, and soon she moved into an apartment with another student. Her name was Angie. They were friends, and she took the doll with her. So before leaving for work every day, Donna would place the doll on the bed in a certain way, and upon returning she would find that the doll had completely changed its position. At first, she thought that probably a friend was picking up the doll and looking at it and then placed it back in a haphazard manner. But then the changes started becoming a little too severe, where she would find the doll sitting on the bed with the hands and legs crossed. So at first, she thought that some friend was probably playing some kind of prank on her, but she soon realized that that was not the case. One day, Donna and Angie come back to their apartment to find the doll completely standing up on its own, leaning against a chair, completely frozen in place. This was especially alarming because it was not like it was a plastic or porcelain doll. It was completely filled with stuffing. There was no way it could stand on its own without, having a structure or a foundation. Even if the doll were to lean on something, it would still flop on the ground, there was no way it could just stand upright like that. It legit looked like the doll had frozen in its place as soon as Donna and Angie entered the apartment. So the girls were understandably extremely disturbed by this, so they decided to confide in a mutual friend named Lou, and Lou was convinced that the doll is evil the moment he laid his eyes on it. But Donna and Angie did not want to get rid of the doll. They were too attached and they did not find anything sinister about the doll, so they just decided to keep it. So the doll continued to appear in positions that no human could recreate, but this time there was a new addition. So they started to find little notes appearing here and there around the apartment, and in child's handwriting it read things like "Help us" or "Help Lou." At this point, Donna and Angie were suspecting that a friend had probably obtained a copy of their apartment key and were just pulling an elaborate prank. So they decided to set up small and subtle traps all around the apartment. But guess what? The doll still moved and the traps were untouched. One day, Donna and Angie returned home to find that the doll had moved from the living room to Donna's bedroom. This is not surprising at this point, but this time Donna found the doll lying on the floor bleeding. So the girls finally realized that this has gone too far, so they decided to contact a medium. The medium unfolded an elaborate story on how this little girl named Annabelle Higgins died in the area of their apartment a long time ago, and now her ghost haunts it, and her spirit basically moves the doll around to get attention. She just wanted to be loved. Donna and Angie were really moved by the story and they sympathized with the death of that little girl. So they decided to keep the doll as it had become such a significant part of their lives, and they named the doll Annabelle. So one day their friend Lou comes to visit them, and as soon as he realizes that the girls still hadn't gotten rid of the dolls, he tries his best to convince them to do it. But then they say that'll be impossible because it'll be like abandoning a child. So Lou felt defeated and he goes back to his apartment, and that very night he woke up from a bad dream to find Annabelle on top of him trying to strangle him while he remained paralyzed in bed. And then he blacked out, and when he woke up the next morning, he was convinced that it wasn't a dream. So Lou decides to brush off what would have been a warning from Annabelle and decided to just go about his business. But one day he visits the girls at their apartment, and he was legit attacked by Annabelle. Even though Donna was not in the apartment at the time, Angie rushed over from the kitchen and she witnessed everything. So upon inspection, Angie discovered that there were 3 large claw marks gashed across Lou's chest, and it was bleeding profusely and radiating great amounts of heat. This time, the 3 of them were convinced that something needs to be done about this doll, so they decided to contact famous demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens are really surprised as to why the kids just believed a medium out of nowhere, because there was no way the medium would know what the spirit was telling her without actually being at the apartment where the spirit resides. So obviously that was a scam. So Lorraine Warren said that the doll itself was not haunted. It was kind of like a portal or gateway between earth and hell. So the Warrens conducted a 2-day-long exorcism on the doll, and even after that, something didn't sit well with them. They were convinced that the demon hadn't completely left the doll, and guess what? They were right. So the Warrens decided to take the doll home with them for further investigation. And on their way back home, on the drive back home, Ed found himself driving extra cautiously because Annabelle would make the car swerve and stall at the most dangerous spots, like near a cliff, over a ditch, towards a tree, and it was really, really scary. So once Annabelle was brought back to Ed and Lauren's home, she continued to do her dangerous antics, and she attacked a lot of the Warrens' employees and did a lot of other terrifying things that even allegedly left a person dead. After this, the Warrens decided that enough is enough, and they decided to lock up Annabelle in a glass cabinet in their own museum called the Warrens Occult Museum, where she was locked up, and there was a sign that was attached in front of her cabinet called "Warning, positively do not open," and she has remained there since. So Ed Warren passed away in 2006 and Lorraine Warren passed away last year. But before her passing, she let everybody know that although Annabelle was unsuccessful at escaping her cabinet, she still changed positions inside it, and she would sometimes even growl at unwary visitors. And if anyone were to take her picture without her permission or letting her know, she would literally hiss at them and even put a hex on them. So this is my finished look. Everything is minimal, but I just did something dramatic with the eye. So this is my first time filming this kind of video. If it didn't look aesthetic, I'm so sorry. I'm not very good at multitasking, so please cut me some slack. And if you watch this far, comment help Lou. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.